Hey, welcome to the Beat Junkie Institute of Sound in Glendale, California. You're watching the first episode of Q&A. We're your hosts, Mike, C, and Akiko Luv. And our first guest is none other than the man, DJ Melo-D.
What up? What's up, guys?
Oh, wow. I'm so excited to do this. Let me first give you some context of like how I first heard about Melo-D and from today. So I started DJing about 20 years ago.
Okay.
And at that time, study material was very, very scarce. So I had radio to listen to. So I listened to the Mickey Ficky mix in the morning with E-Man. And at 7 o'clock every evening, try to catch Julio G and this man on the 7 o'clock menu mix. Oh, wow. It was just so inspiring to listen to this man and how he just creates and formulates his sets together. It's just so beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
And throughout that, you know, just learning more about the culture and learning the Beat Junkies and what you guys accomplished throughout, you know, the 90s and early 2000s. Really just being the pioneers of West Coast DJing and turntablism and really representing. Wow. Also helping me out as a graduate student as well. This man, I have to thank him for allowing me to have, I guess, the most fun homework assignment or project I ever had in my educational career.
That's right. Yeah.
This man was kind enough to open his doors to me while I was a graduate student at USC for a pilot study, a research study about building identity and learning more about the scratch culture. And I talked to him and J-Rock and Babu and Redmatic.
Yeah, you came to the house, right?
I did,
yeah,
yes.
That's right. Yeah, you reminded me about that.
Yeah, and mad shout out to my friend Joanna in Madrid, who's there also.
Yep.
Oh my God. And going through Vegas and walking through Wynn Casino and seeing you at the 510 cash game.
Totally unrelated to DJ, but yeah.
That was pretty awesome. And then working with you kind of recently, hiring you as my coach for prepping me for TMC this past year.
Yeah,
and
that was fun.
Now we're here today.
Yeah,
it's like, oh my goodness.
No, thank you guys for taking the time to sit down and talk music and DJing. This is always it's always fun and interesting.
So I have mad questions for you.
Cool.
Okay, and I'll lead up to that, but like first, I really want to talk to this man about poker. But we'll move up to that. Let's see, Mike, can you hold on this just for a moment? Yeah. So that study I was telling you about, right?
USC.
Yeah, USC.
Oh, you still have it?
Whoa, that's that's a novel.
So this is, you know, I went through my spring cleaning recently, and I ran into this material, and I was so happy to find it. This is like kind of our research, like, you know, articles and stuff to support this assignment.
Wow.
And I don't know if you remember that or remember receiving that. That's the original copy that we have, and we got a A- for that. But
What year is this?
Right.
What year is this from?
Like late 90s, right?
no, it was like 2000.
Early 2000s?
Yeah, early 2000, 2005 or 4 or 5.
Yeah, I vaguely remember this. I remember you guys coming to the house. Remember we sat down like in the kitchen, right?
Yes.
At my table, my dining table.
Yes. We bought Krispy Kremes for you guys.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And I think I remember saying, you know, let me know how it turns out, and you know, sharing the final paper.
So for the viewers who can't see this, it says "Scratch That: The Lived Experience of a Turntablist." You know.
Let me give it a close up. Okay, is that good?
Yeah.
Can you see that?
That's a real college paper right there. I remember I wrote my fair share of those for sure.
You majored in sociology, right?
Yeah, sociology. And to be honest, on camera, it was this is kind of a time where I really like just fell in love with DJing. I was really, you know, I connected with the crew, you know, Babu, D, Jay, obviously, Rhett, you know, Icy Ice, and we were just all, you know, we were younger and we were in the scene and we were doing a lot of mobile DJing and, you know, I'm sharing gigs together and record shopping all the time and practicing, and that was what I wanted to do. I really didn't want to be a student, but you know, I had to finish, so I just couldn't decide on a major because I knew, you know, music and DJing was what I wanted to do, and sociology, you know, I had always been interested in, you know, psychology and interpersonal dynamics and, you know, the psychiatry of people and behavior. So you know, I chose that, and yeah, I finished, graduated in 1997, and after that I was free to just do music full time. And so, you know, looking back, I'm glad that I did. I definitely had some frustrating moments as a college student, though. There was a point where when we were, you know, getting really serious about battling and competing, you know, I would cut class for like a week straight. Like I wouldn't go to school. Like it haunts me in my sleep, like to this day. Like
Wow.
I'll have dreams of like, you know, missing
Being
a
a
test
student or something?
or just showing up late for an exam or missing something like really important, and I'll wake up like, and I know it's because like I
Of those
pulled
days.
I pulled those moves, like, you know, just because that's how in love with DJing I was. But again, looking back, I'm glad that I finished. It's definitely the right
Where
thing
did
to
you
do.
graduate from?
UC Irvine, in sociology.
Speaking of your college experience and DJing, someone told me, if I'm remembering right, first of all, if you remember, you were in the '96 DMC US Finals in San Francisco. I was actually there.
Oh, you're at that battle?
Yeah, I was watching.
That was a great battle.
You and Babs and like Swamp and all the other guys.
Yeah, that was a dope night.
But someone told me that, is it true that your preparation for that battle was limited because you were going through finals at that time?
I think I had finals like literally in the days after that battle, and it was actually Babu and D that talked me into competing. Like, hey, you're out.
Wait,
here.
so you were considering not?
Yeah, well, I
was
wasn't.
the U.S. Finals.
I wasn't. Yeah, I know. I just wasn't.
What year was this?
This was '96.
96, okay.
So I was kind of like, you know, kind of winding down my being a student at UC Irvine.
Senior year then?
So it was important for me to like really like nail these final exams, and you know, I got some pressure from my folks at home. For good reason, you know, because like I said, I'd done a lot of slacking off and it caught up to me grade-wise. So I definitely, you know, wanted to honor my commitment to being a student. I wanted to, you know, do my parents right, make them proud, and do the right thing. Because I know in their heart of hearts, they really wanted me. They understood how passionate I was about DJing and music, and they supported that. But they wanted me to definitely, like, it was very important to all of us as a family that I finished. I had two younger sisters, so there was that, you know. Also, I was
got to be the example.
So yeah. So anyhow, but that's a true story. I literally was like on the fence, like, you know. But it worked out. Like, I'm glad I did. You know, it didn't go the best for me that night on stage. For anyone that's seen that battle, but I had some technical issues, but it worked out. I was able to do my thing. You know, and I'm glad I was there. It was a really dope experience. It's just, you know, that was a legendary battle. Those were legendary times, you know, for the school that we're all from. And then I went back and I did well on my exams. I was, you know, prepared, and so yeah, it all worked out. So
I have a really good memory for random stuff, and one random thing I remember reading was, back in the day, there was a free newsletter called the Vinyl Exchange by DJ Steph and other people.
I remember that.
But there was an interview with you. This must have been like 1995 or something. And toward the end of the interview, they asked something like, "Oh, you know, what are your goals in this DJing and music stuff?" And you said something to the effect of, "Well, basically, I just want to have music and DJing be a part of my life for as long as I can." And did you have any conception, like in 1995, that's 23 years ago now, that you would be here and you would still be DJing and you would have a DJ school and you would be DJing in Vegas and like all, like, did any of that cross your mind at that time?
No, not really. I kind of just took it day by day. Just as a person, I've always kind of been a person, you know, all the fellas know, I'm very cautious and I tend to over worry about things like the future. So I definitely remember, you know, that being a heavy part of my sentiment as far as like music and DJing goes. Like, oh man, I mean, yeah, this is fun and this is great, and but I mean,
what comes after kind of
thing?
thing?
I mean, because, you know, we were doing mobile gigs, and yeah, you make a few bucks and stuff, but it's definitely not enough to, you know, support yourself, you know, as a young adult. You know, if you want to do things like own a home or maybe someday have a family, you know, because at the end of the day, like, that's not really consistent work. And just, you know, by the grace of God, and shout out to my brothers, Tony G and Julio G, they gave me my first, you know, real job as a DJ. That was at 92.3 The Beat in 95. And I was there with them for 7 years, and that, you know, kind of catapulted me in some other things, and, you know, just people that grew up out here.
Was that before or after Vibe TV? I remember watching you on there.
That was, I started, Vibe was 97. That only ran for a season, so it's basically a year, 97 to 98. But that basically, me being on the radio, kind of indirectly helped me get my foot in the door, just to even have a chance at that opportunity. And shout out to the Baker Boys out of Bakersfield. They were on Power 106 at the time, and you know, Eric V told me this personally, that at the time for that Vibe show, they were just taking all kind of different auditions and submissions from DJs. Cut Chemist, I heard at one point, I heard Cut Chemist's name in the mix. So it was the Baker Boys. They went in for an audition. This was at the CBS lot right here on Fairfax, and they called me. Eric V called me after they left, and you know, he told me that Quincy Jones was asking, hey, is there any other DJs that you guys can recommend? Anybody in the area? And Eric goes, you got to check out this kid Melo-D, DJs on the other radio station. So literally, like, I think within an hour I got the call, and they wanted me like the next day. So I went in and auditioned for Quincy Jones and Greg Fillinganes, who you know, wrote and produced a lot of music for a lot of legends, Michael Jackson, you know. So that was pretty nerve-wracking. But
wow, I can imagine. I mean, those are some big names.
Yeah, those two musical legends. So yeah, that was definitely a high-pressure moment. But yeah.
So it sounds like you're more of a take it day by day kind of planner, or do you like, are you one of those people that has like a 5-year plan and this is what I want to be doing 4 years from now and then 5?
I think yeah, as the years have gone by, I've definitely kind of you know, tried to be better at looking more long term, because it's different. You know, my life is different now. I have, you know, husband, I have a family, so you know, you think about them, you put them, you know, and your family before everything else. So I think you know, you're kind of put in this position where, you know, you need to be responsible, you need to do the right thing, and that's definitely something that you need to think about, you know, because now you're thinking about not just your future, but you know, how your future is going to affect those around you, you know, their future. So yeah, to answer your question, yes. So now I do think like, you know, 3 years, 5 years, like.
Oh, okay.
Know, so and.
If you care to share, what's on the 3 to 5 year plan now for Melo-D now in 2018?
So I recently, you know, when we started BeatJunkies.com, we launched that in 2014, and for the last probably 4 years, and maybe even the year before that, you know, the guys and I, you know, D and I, we were working pretty hard, and I pretty much, you know, kind of made that my sole focus. You know, I was still going out and DJing, and you know, I have had residency in Vegas for a long time, so I would do that and do other gigs, live DJing here and there. But when social media came into play, I kind of I didn't really make the time to kind of like, you know, put myself out there like as a DJ, you know, what I do, and that was because like I said, I chose to, you know, devote my time to our business. And just recently, like earlier this year, beginning of this year, it was kind of like, I wouldn't say New Year's resolution, but it was kind of one of the things I told myself, like just moving forward, you know what, like I really need to like be better at balancing that. Like, you know, I still love DJing, obviously. I'm still very passionate and invested in it, and it's what we do. It's, you know, a major part of our brand, of our business, and you know, as one of, you know, 7 active members, I feel like I have a duty to my crew, to my squad, to my business, to, you know, to uphold that, because there's a lot riding, especially now with having a DJ school, having, you know, a record pool, and now launching BeatJunkies.tv. Like, you know, we have to be able to basically practice what we preach, you know. So anyway, so yeah, I've been trying to recently, in recent months, just, you know, kind of be a little more consistent, just like I said, putting myself out there more, making myself a little more visible, I guess, as a DJ. You know, and then still, you know, also dedicating, you know, time to the business and where it calls for it. So
the way I kind of interpret that is, this guy is the difference between a famous DJ and an internet famous DJ. So
that's funny.
I have a question. Let me take you back a little bit. Let's see. So if I got my memory's a little fuzzy, so excuse me, but let's see if I got the years right. Bumped into Havoc recently. He shared with me that you did mobile gigs with him, with modern music.
Oh yeah.
Is that right? Can you share the story how you guys teamed up and started, and how that experience was? Yeah.
So I grew up in a city, a local suburb here in LA County called Cerritos, born and raised, and you know, this was early 1990s. In 91, 92, I graduated high school in 91, and in high school I had kind of formed. Clicked up with a few good friends, and that was my first mobile crew. And then, you know, after I was pretty much a bookworm in high school. I wasn't really out and about too much. I wasn't really going to any parties, like, you know, out in downtown LA or any, like, you know, anything in the scene at the time. for a few reasons. But you know, I was in the area, like locally. I would go to like house parties and high school dances, and so I'd see, you know, Rhett, DJ Curse, like those were kind of like the mobile guys, like really out there doing it back then. And then so anyhow, when I got out of high school, like I had a little more breathing room. I was in college. I had my own car, so I was able to kind of venture out like to some record stores like out in LA, and you know, go kick it with J-Rock like at his house and stuff. And so that's kind of where I connected with that whole squad. They were called Modern Musique, and they were just another local mobile DJ crew in the area. And yeah, we how did I meet? I met the two frontmen at Norwalk Records. I was in there record shopping, and I just overheard them talking about what's the name of that record store? Funky Town. They were talking about it, and it sounded like they were a little lost as to where it was at and how to get there. So I was just trying to be helpful, and hey, hear you guys talking about Funky Town, and so we just started talking, and they're like, yeah, you should come by. And so, you know, same thing, I went to their house. They lived a few miles away in Cerritos, and we would practice and stuff, and then they started like, you know, inviting me to tag along with them on their gigs, and I just kind of became part of the fabric, and that's how I met Havoc. And yeah, we used to roll pretty deep, like,
really?
So he had his own mobile crew called Prestige.
Okay.
And but we did a few, like, you know, big high school dances, like proms and stuff like that, or like winter formals, where it would be like both crews, or like, you know, us, both of our crews and like another crew. So it'd be like, you know, 15, 18 cars, like, you know, someone had, yeah, heavy.
What?
I mean,
It's like
mobile
an army.
DJ
It's like an
days,
army.
like, those are the mobile DJ days, so there was like, you know, bass cabinets and like, you know, like big Sir Vega, like speakers, amps, like crates upon crates of
That's
records,
serious.
like, you know, yeah, turntables, 4 turntables sometimes, like, so
Wow.
those were good times though, yeah, and Keith and I used to hang out a lot, like, we would go record shopping. There used to be a Tower Records right across from his parents' house that we would frequent. We would drive to Funky Town, and we would go to other record spots, like we'd help Melrose sometimes, and you know, and same thing, he was active as a DJ, so we would do gigs together, you know. So yeah, shout out to Havoc, yeah, OG Beat Junkie for sure.
One funny thing about Melo telling these stories right now is he's like, oh yeah, I'm from this town, it's called Cerritos. And I'm like, dude, if you're a DJ from Southern California, you know about Cerritos. I mean, Cerritos is where all these heavy hitters are from. So, yeah.
Cerritos All-Stars, right?
Yeah.
Cerritos All-Stars, yep. Shout out to CAS.
Let's see if I got this right. So, back when I was in college, I remember like you were kind of a legend. So like a Bigfoot spotting. Like it's like, oh, Melo-D's at this club.
Oh wow.
And we all got excited. It was an AGC event. And I think you were dating at Irvine Kappa.
Dang, what year was this?
Maybe like 98 or 99.
Man, I don't even remember. Okay, so it was a like a college event?
It was a college event,
okay.
and we were like, oh damn, it's like he's dating the hottest chick in that sorority.
You're gonna get him in trouble now. Many years later, he's married. He has kids.
Sorority? I don't think I did.
Well, that was the memory.
Oh, okay.
And then wait, then let's see, like Legend Entertainment, Arena, like ICI.
Oh
like,
yeah, for sure.
yeah. Oh my God, these guys were killing it. It made my college days lit. Oh my God, good times, good memories.
For sure. No, Ice used to throw some big jams back in the day. He had that whole scene, that 18 and over scene on lock. I mean, he would fill up 1,000, you know, a venue of 1,000 people every week, like no problem.
It was every Thursday night?
It was that Thursdays, and then there was another one kind of where we all used to posse up. I think it was Thursday night at the Variety Arts Center in downtown. It was called The Source, but that was kind of like his big like breakout night, and yeah, that was just popping just every week. I mean, at some point, it was always on the top floor. I think it's been years since I've been there, but it was the 4th floor, which 800 people, 1,000 people. I mean, young 18, 19-year-old kids, you know, all of us. But yeah, we all used to show up. Me, Rhett, you know, J-Rock, D and Short would come through when they were in town, down from up north to kick it. And yeah, those were good times. Like, we also get on and DJ. And at some point, I think that event got so big that he ended up doing like the 3rd floor, and then he would have like, he had a DJ on the 2nd floor, which is kind of more like a lounge. Like, that's how large like that night was. Like, so it was always a good time. Yeah. So,
I see that smile on your face.
Yeah, no, those were good. Those were good times for sure.
Can you like?
Wish I had some. I have video somewhere of
private stash.
no, it's not a private stash. But I have old camcorder tapes of. I used to just kind of bring my camera along just randomly, and I know I have.
Got to digitize those.
Please
for
share.
sure,
Please share.
They're in storage, but yeah, that would definitely be worth a look at after all these years.
Can you share that like progression, like starting, you know, your career as a party rocker then and throughout the years, and how it's kind of changed for you, the feeling and attachment now to today?
Yeah, so this is something I've talked about just repeatedly over the years, that what very first caught my eye with DJing was the mobile DJ scene, going back to what I just said. And again, it was Rhetmatic, it was DJ Curse. I mean, these are the guys, again, at the time this is 84, 85, maybe 85, 86. And I had just finished elementary school and started at a high school that was grades 7 through 12. So it was like junior high and high. You spent those 6 years on the same campus. And my very first high school dance, it was DJ Curse and his crew Public Image that came, and that was the first time I had ever seen, like, up close in person, like 2 1200s, a Newmark mixer, like big Sirwin Vegas, like lights, trussel, like records,
first time
like
seeing that.
just seeing it live.
Yeah.
And I was literally like that kid. I didn't like, there was like a girl I had a crush on, and like she's, you know, we had kind of become friends, and so she wanted to dance, and I was just in the corner just watching like the DJ. I was like, in a minute, but yeah, I mean, I was just blown away. Like, I was just in awe. And then, like, you know, just with everything, just the setup and just the way the music sounded and how loud the system was, and just the music, like, just hitting you in the chest, like coming from the bass cabinets. Like, I'd never experienced that before. And then seeing, you know, Curse, and he was ahead of his time. You know, he was just flipping styles early on. Like, so.
Someone called him the Qbert of Southern California back then.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Is that pretty much how it was?
Back in those days, he was untouchable, man. Like, he was ahead of the game for sure. Yeah, so I mean, he was, you know, he would throw in records and he had his routines and he would like get busy and just like, that was the first time I had ever seen anybody cut it up live. And I was like, so anyhow, that was what initially drew me into DJing, which is that experience and just wanting to learn how to do that. Like, I wanted to learn how to mix. I wanted that equipment.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I like pretty much tugged on my mom and dad for any occasion, you know, birthday, Christmas, you know, I did well in school or straight A's or whatever. And so finally they saw I was serious. And, you know, equipment was not cheap back then. We were talking like, I think $500 for just one turntable, like, let alone the rest of the gear. So finally, like, you know, they got me my first Technique 1200 for Christmas in 88, I think, or 87. And I pretty much jacked my dad's old home stereo. So it was an old Kenwood receiver that had a turntable, but it wasn't 1200. It was, you know.
Yeah, you use what you can get a hold of.
It was whack. Yeah. But I didn't even use that turntable. I grabbed the tape deck, I grabbed the receiver, and I connected them. And I used to just play my old cassettes that I had, and I would just, the small record collection that I had, that's how I would practice mixing and trying to scratch a little bit. But again, there was no study tools back then. This is way pre-internet. So all you had to go off of was your ear.
So what year was this again?
This is 87.
How old were you then?
I was 14.
14. Wow.